ladies and gentlemen, this is David Benjamin from HealthyWildandFree.com. Today I want to share with you some information that I've kind of known about for a while, but I recently saw it in a new angle, in a new light, in a new perspective. And I wanted to share this information with you simply because I feel it's really important to be aware of what's going on in society, what's going on in the businesses that you purchase from or don't purchase from, and what's going on in your government, because your laws determine how you live to some extent and to some degree. So today I want to share with you why 23 million Americans do not have access to fresh fruits and vegetables because of the government and Monsanto and other genetically modified seed companies. Now, before I share with you that information today, this is not meant to change your political affiliations or anything like that. I just share this information with you because it's very interesting, and if you look at the facts, if you look at the data, if you look at what the government is doing, you can't help but notice how it's negatively impacting our health as a whole society, and the health of our families and the health of our friends. So today, I want to share with you this information and help you kind of see the new light. So basically, if you aren't familiar with agriculture and how the government deals with agriculture in America, what they do is they subsidize crops. So primarily wheat, soy, and corn, the genetically modified crops. Now what's interesting about that is Monsanto is the main company that is really behind all of this. They are the ones selling they're the ones selling seeds for wheat, soy, and corn for genetically modified crops. Now subsidies are interesting because I actually was involved with a company for a little bit that had an organic microbe out of Michigan State University that helps the soil become healthier and do all this kind of stuff. And basically, I was trying to get that off the ground to essentially compete with Monsanto. I know that sounds crazy, but it was something I was very passionate about for a while, but it's just very difficult to actually get going because Monsanto has such a strong threshold in the agricultural space. So basically, how subsidies work is the government pays farmers to grow certain crops, and it will actually also pay them to not grow certain crops at certain times. So basically what the government does is it has an overbearing control on what farmers produce and the quantity of which those farmers produce those crops. So soy, corn, and wheat, the top genetically modified crops, are produced in massive amounts because the government pays for that. Now, I don't know about you, but I would prefer to have a range of diversity within my diet. I really like cucumbers and salads and tomatoes and avocados. I like a good range of food. If you ate soy, corn, and wheat your entire life, you'd probably end up looking like the Pillsbury Doughboy with cancer, heart disease, diabetes, and lung cancer. There's not a lot of nutritional value in these foods. And what's very interesting about that is that when you start to look at how this plays out in the larger scale of things, what happens is that 23 million Americans that live in quote-unquote food deserts, which are basically areas that don't have access to fresh fruits and vegetables, are basically left out of the equation to have access to healthy food. So specifically I'm talking about urban environments, inner cities, and very rural areas. Areas that don't have supermarkets, that don't have grocery stores, that don't have farmers markets, that don't have access to fresh fruits and vegetables. But what they do have is a lot of access to processed, packaged foods, which ingredients contain soy, wheat, and high fructose corn syrup, which is corn. So what's happened over time is inner cities and urban environments have had access to food, but it's been genetically modified food, subsidized by the government, which basically gives them quantity of food, but it's a lower quality food. And this is the same for really all of America, the whole country. So what happens is, because of this kind of change in agriculture and the change in government subsidies, paying farmers to grow something or to not grow something, the reason they do that is to control the price of the food. Their thought process behind it is to keep food cheap, but the only issue with that, and the only issue with the kind of American consciousness behind pricing control, is that if you try to control the pricing of one thing, you're only fluctuating prices of other things, and in this case you're controlling the price of genetically modified crops that are put into packaged and processed foods that are not good for your health and cause cancer and disease and diabetes and all these different things, and it makes no sense whatsoever. So now we are eating 25% more carbohydrates in America than we did 30 years ago. 25% more. But that's not the only factor that plays a role here. 25% more food in your diet is an insane amount. It's an insane increase in 30 years. But on top of that, you have to take into account the quality of the food. So we're eating 25% more food, but our food is genetically modified, packaged, processed, preserved, and sugared and salted, and all these other factors. So not only are we eating 25% more food now than 30 years ago, we're eating 25% more food, but that food quality has diminished drastically. So it makes sense why there's so much heart disease, cancer, diabetes, and all these different obesity and all these different ailments, because we are funding it with our tax dollars. America! So we have to look at the bigger picture. What we're doing is we're funding the government to make stupid decisions on our behalf, on the behalf of our health and our children's health and our family and friends' health, and they are funding bogus science and bogus claims that is affecting our health in a very negative way. So our taxes, our government, Monsanto, and all the other seed companies that make genetically modified seeds are causing these issues. So what can you do about it? Well, you can start by shopping at your local farmer's market and eating organic produce. Eat organic fruits and vegetables. Create farmers markets in your city. Go to your city, create farmers markets, start something up. Start something grassroots, literally. Grow food, plant food, start gardens. Do things like that. Start canning food. Canning is a great way to preserve food, and you can get that into urban environments and environments, either urban or very rural, that are food deserts that don't have access to fresh fruits and vegetables. Fresh fruits and vegetables are the #1 and #2 most important factors for health and well-being overall. Fruits and vegetables are full of prebiotics, enzymes, natural acids and compounds, antioxidants, vitamins, minerals, trace minerals, polyphenols, phytochemicals. So many different plant compounds that are beneficial for your health and well-being. We know fruits and vegetables are the most important 2 categories for your health, period, in my opinion, overall. So we have to start somewhere. We have to see through the lies of the government, what they're doing in Monsanto. And another quick note on this. I found this kind of interesting because I've been kind of changing my mindset recently about how I view business. I've always not really been a fan of Walmart. I just think big stores like that, they compete with the little businesses. They usually squash the small businesses, and then they kind of like soak up and absorb those employees and don't really provide a lot of growth opportunity overall. That's just kind of the way I view it, economically speaking. But one thing that's very interesting is that in Washington, D.C. and in New York, the governments there have actually made laws preventing Walmart from entering urban areas, claiming that it will affect business and this and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, that's, I read that and I was like, oh, I'm kind of neutral about that because I'm kind of for like freedom and, being able to, like, if you have a business, place a business where you want and whatever. But then I read the next sentence. That next sentence kind of pissed me off because they explained how, all these different kind of like urban places where you buy food, corner stores and things like that, don't have any fresh foods. They don't have any fresh fruits and produce. Whereas Walmart has fresh fruits and vegetables. So if Walmart were to enter these urban areas, we would have fresh fruits and vegetables in these urban areas, and that would allow people that don't have access to fresh fruits and vegetables because of the government's ridiculous subsidies to try to control the price of food and try to control food in general. It would allow that to enter urban areas and rural areas, which I guess it's kind of already in rural areas, but definitely at least enter urban areas, to allow people that don't have access to fresh fruits and vegetables to have access to fresh fruits and vegetables at a reasonable price. And I know it's not necessarily positive on the small business front, but health is definitely important, and the government's infringing on our rights to choosing which food we consume and choosing which food we want. And they're doing that by subsidizing genetically modified crops, corn, soy, and wheat. So we have to look at things differently. We have to approach what we eat differently, and we have to start growing food. We have to start just growing food, starting gardens and supporting gardeners and supporting farmers. The government is not your friend. Your Republican, your Democratic representative is not your friend. Your farmer is your friend, you are your friend, I'm your friend, and the people who are creating awareness in this space are your friend. Listen to those people and make conscious, positive decisions, and be aware of what choices you're making and how they impact the world around you. So hopefully this video helps you be a little bit more conscious, a little bit more aware of how screwed up the system is and how the government and Monsanto are working together in many negative ways to negatively impact health and well-being. So that's it for this video. My name is David Benjamin. I'm the founder of healthywildandfree.com. You can learn more about health, wellness, organic living, nutrition, detoxification, fitness, emotional health and well-being, fitness, green living, and all this kind of stuff at healthywildandfree.com. Thank you so much for your time. Please subscribe to my channel if you enjoyed this video and you'd like to see more content. Like this video if you enjoyed the content, and please leave your comments below. I want to hear your thoughts. I feel like something like this that negatively impacts minorities, urban environments, and is basically perpetrated by the government, whether it's right or left, in Monsanto, but really kind of starts with the government because they're subsidizing these crops. They're funding genetically modified crops. That's the biggest issue, and we need to start with grassroots. We need to start growing gardens and support our local farmers, and you eat organic produce and spread the word. So hopefully this information helps you in some way and see it in a new light and see how you can kind of navigate through those murky waters and make better decisions in life for your health and well-being. Thanks a lot for your time. Once again, this is David Benjamin. Please leave your comments below, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a great day.